What's up, guys? We are back. Fitness Profit Multiplier, Anthony and Jimmy. Today, we're going to be discussing the top 4 problems for gym owners. Now, as gym owners, we can all relate to this. We're all gym owners here listening to this. We're gym owners ourselves, Jimmy and I. There's probably more than 4 problems that we have, especially in a day, right? You got client issues, you got staff issues, you got home problems to deal with. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot to be an entrepreneur and to have a fitness business and to own a personal training studio. Definitely not as easy. You got competition, all these other problems. But there are 4 big problems that gym owners constantly face. And we're going to talk about what those problems are today and talk about how to fix them. So problem number 1, and this is the one that most people actually think is the problem, it's lead generation. Oh, if I just had more clients, my gym would be profitable. Oh, if I had more clients, my gym would be successful. I used to think that all the time too. It was one of the things, I just need more clients. I just need more clients. But there's a lot more that goes into it than just needing clients. So lead generation, how do we fix that?
Well, there's a lot of ways to fix it. And as Anthony said, we can give you all the leads in the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to grow your business, right? So we have to go into that with that perspective. But lead generation comes down to 3 basic things: referral promos, digital advertising, and one of a couple of different things, right? The one big one, so the 3 big ones are referral, digital advertising, and your web presence. So your Google My Business, your website, your testimonials, your reviews, those kinds of things. Those are the 3 big ones that are going to push your business forward the most, in our opinion. That's what we found to push the business forward the most. Now, we can also dive into organic strategies online, and we can dive into joint venture strategies, right? But those are really the things that we want to make sure that we're focused on. And the first one to focus on for a new business is probably referral and website optimization, right? Those are the 2 big ones because those are free for the most part. But you can have somebody develop your website and do all that stuff. I didn't do all that fancy website development until later on in my business, but that's one thing that could help you as well in the beginning. That is not going to cost you as much as the investments that you would make in digital advertising. But when we're looking at lead flow, do you know where your referrals are coming from? Is really the first step we got to look at. Are they consistent? Is there a system and a process around it? And are you making that a predictable lead flow generation vehicle for your business? You can say your business grows by word of mouth as much as you want, but if it's not predictable and systemized, it's not as valuable.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going to add to that too. Jimmy brought up a good point. We can give you all the leads in the world, but you want clients. You don't want leads, you want clients. So how do you get clients, right? So let's say somebody gets a ton of leads. Like last month in my facility, doing what Jimmy talked about, we got 177 leads in our gym. 177 leads. That's what that equated to, right? But that's not 177 clients. There's work on that back end to turn those leads into clients. So one of the things that I'm going to say when it comes to lead generation, you need, and those of you who listen to this know what I'm going to say, you need to pick up the phone and start dialing, okay? Pick up the phone and start dialing. As soon as you get a lead, you need to do what we talk about so many times. Get Zapier, a simple software that basically sends you little zaps and whatever. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna set up a Zapier. You're gonna get a lead in, whether they opt in from a website, Facebook, or whatever. They opt in. You get a text message directly to your gym line, which we talked about in other episodes. You get a text message directly to there, and the Zapier sends the lead to an Excel spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, whatever you want to use, so this way you can keep track of it. Now, you pick up the phone and you start dialing. Hey, Mary, this is Anthony from AB Fitness. I see you just applied for our program. How can I help you? Blah, blah, blah. And you go into the whole scripting there. So that is very, very important. Speed to lead is very important. But then if Mary doesn't pick up the phone, you need to send her a text to try to keep getting in touch with her. You need to work that lead. That 177 leads, if we didn't work them, we would have signed up probably half of the amount that we did. So you need to be able to work the leads. Don't be afraid to do the work. You're not annoying to them. They raise their hand, go and do the work. So that's lead generation. That's the first one. Second big problem that all gym owners face is staff. Staff. Sometimes I wish I could just duplicate myself and put myself on the floor, right? How many times have you said that to yourself in your business? But the key with staff is one, setting good parameters right off the bat, and two, have an amazing onboarding system for your staff. You have to get your staff trained. And you always want to be investing back into your staff. Your staff is your frontline workers. They deal with your clients. If your clients are happy, they're going to stay. And the more clients stay at your gym, the more money you make. The lifetime value of a client is ultimately what puts more money in your pocket. If you're getting clients who stay with you for 1 month, really didn't put much money in your pocket. Whereas if they stay with you for 2 years, putting a lot of money in your pocket. So you gotta train your staff. You gotta constantly be on them. Frequent meetings, we've talked about this so many times as well. Frequent meetings, daily huddles, weekly meetings, on top of them, trainings, in-services is a necessity to growing your business and stopping that problem right where it is.
100%. The onboarding sequence for these staff and vetting them properly in the hiring process is super important, right? We're really talking about the onboarding process, and that has to do with how your trainings are structured to make sure that that new employee, at least within 2 weeks of entering your facility, is actually able to take on the floor by themselves. Now, it's not going to happen for everybody, but the staff just need to be solid with your system and your program and running through it the way that you want them to run through it. And that just comes down to regular meetings, regular reviewing them, on point with everything that we're doing inside of our facility, and then know your system backwards and forwards.
Yeah, one of the other things I'm going to say with staff too is you always got to expect that your staff is going to leave constantly. No one's going to stay at your business forever. I have a really good staff right now. My team is really good, really strong. We connect, we bond, we have a good time together, good camaraderie between the team, but they're not going to be with me forever. You have to accept that fact, unfortunately. So what that means is you got to have a pole, and we use the fishing analogy here at FPM. You guys know that if you listen. But you have to have a pole that's off the side of the boat that is constantly in the water trying to pick up, new employees. So I have a system in my business, and it's a very small pole. I don't need it to be, right now we don't need a lot of trainers, so that pole doesn't have to be cranking all the time. But I have something that I do every week to get new, and I reach out to a certain amount of trainers every week. And that's a system that happens whether I need a trainer or not. And it's always good to have people in the pipeline. Always good to have backup trainers, people that are interested, because you never know when someone's going to leave, and you never want to be caught on your back foot where you as the business owner, especially if you're removed from the training portion of it, that you have to jump back into that role. So that's just one other thing I'll add with that too, having a hole in the water, so to say, so you're always on the lookout for good talent. All right, problem number 3, and this is the one I love the most, profit. Jimmy and I have been around a lot of gym owners, and we've been in the room with gym owners who, as they say in Texas, big hat, no cattle, right? They have, I think this saying, I don't know, I could be totally wrong, but they have big businesses, right? Beautiful facilities, big revenue numbers, millions of dollars a year, and the owner takes home less than I do. So profit, how do we get more profit in our business? And we've done other episodes on this before, but You don't want to be the gym owner, big hat, no cattle.
Right. And there's so many times when we looked at gym owners that, peers of ours and people in the industry, they may tell you that they have millions of dollars coming into their facility. Like Anthony said, oh, we make $2 million. But then you come to find out that they co-own the gym, and then they have a partner in their business. And then they have another business that has a partner and another business that has a partner. And all they're telling you is revenue numbers, when in all reality, they're making just as much as they were making yearly take home that they were when they managed the Gold's Gym that they worked at. And that's not what you got into this industry to do. You didn't get into the industry being an entrepreneur, taking on all the risk, taking on all the stress, and growing this thing and getting your knuckles bloody through the process to sit there and make $50,000 to $75,000 a year. It's not what you got into it for, right? If that's what you wanted to make as a trainer, you should have just stayed at your job and worked your way up and had fun with it and not had the stress of owning everything. So a lot of gym owners will eat profit by having too big of a facility, having too much staff, having too much bells and whistles in their facility, buying equipment that they don't need, having too many pieces of equipment. There's a lot of things that people do that they think is going to grow their business, when in reality, your business can be pretty slapped together in the fitness space. As long as your gym is clean, you have enough space for bodies, you give people a good experience, and you cultivate that culture of community at your facility, you will be successful, and you can still grow a pretty profitable, high revenue facility in a small space without the bells and whistles and the remodeled bathroom and the crazy logo on the wall and all this stuff, right? You don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, agreed 100%. There's really not much I want to add to that too. And then, we did, like I said, we did other episodes to it. You got to look at your expenses. What are you spending that you don't need to be spending? And Jimmy had given a good tip on another episode where if you need to sign up for a software, even though it might be a little more, do it monthly until you know for sure that you actually need the software. This way you can catch those things that you don't end up using and then cut them. All right. And number 4, you're burnt out. You're just done. You're tired. You're working all these hours. When are you going to get ahead? You don't see your family. You have no time. The gym takes up all your time. You're in the gym all day. You're burnt out. You're stressed. How do you overcome that? The answer is having good systems in your business. Your business will fall to the level of your systems. If you're doing all the work in your business, and at some point you have to, so I'm not going to say that you don't, but if you're doing everything in your business and you have staff, you don't have a people problem, you have a system problem. And you need to be able to go in there and fix the system. And these are things that we teach you with our coaching, but good systems is going to be the lifeline for your freedom. And using the fishing analogy, the boat example, you have your staff, they're putting the fish on the pole for your different lead generation sources. They're putting them in the water. The staff is drilling the fish up, taking the fish off the hook, cutting the fish up, packing the fish, putting it in the freezer. That's ultimately the system that goes with that. Now, if you're trying to work all the poles in the water, work on cutting up the fish and putting them in the packets, of course you're going to get burnt out. Who's steering the ship, right? Who's steering the boat around to try to find more fish? Who's making sure that the service that you're actually doing is right? No one. But if you have a good staff with you, you could watch and monitor and say, okay, this person's doing good. They're packing the fish correctly. Then you hire somebody to replace them so you can be the captain of the boat, put the boat where all the fish are, and just keep reeling in the fish. And then you get to a certain point too, where you stop using the fishing poles and you have a big net and you just get all these fish in at once. But in order to do that, you need to have the systems in place. And so if you're feeling burnt out, it's because you don't have the right systems in your business.
And in addition to systems, and Anthony touched on this with his analogy here, but in addition to systems, it's hiring staff. The biggest reason why I experienced burnout in the beginning of my fitness business was because I didn't hire staff early enough. And I know that Anthony and I kind of experienced something similar in the beginning where we both got the gyms up to $20,000 or $25,000 a month with no staff. It was just us alone, right? Doing all the sales, doing all the service, doing all the admin, cleaning the bathrooms, like everything that needed to be done was done by us through the entirety of the business. And you do that for too long, and it's very difficult for one person to maintain a business that does $20,000 to $25,000 a month, right? So you gotta have the staff, and you gotta hire them a little bit earlier than you think you can afford them. But then that staff allows you to have some time to back away from the process and build the processes and systems that need to be executed within your business so that new people that come in can then take over that part of the business moving forward.
So guys, those are the top 4 problems that big gym owners have. We all suffer from them. Like I said, there's millions of them, but these are the top 4. So if you're experiencing any of those and you want help, you guys know what to do. Click those links below. If this is the first time you're listening to this, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button, whatever it is anymore. I don't even know. They change it all the time. And until next time, Fitness Profit Multiplier, we are out.